My name is Arturo Bris, and I am Professor of Finance at IND.
Arturo Bris 一个西班牙人，在法国读书，却在美国开启了执教生涯，最后的生活脚步停留在了瑞士。如今，他已经在瑞士的商学院 IMD 执教超过20年。今天趁他有空，就抓住他，和他一起聊了聊，在他的眼里，瑞士的工作和生活方式。
So you're Spanish.
Correct.
You went to teaching in USA.
Yes, I went to PhD program in France. I did my PhD in France at INSEAD in Fontainebleau. And then from France, we went to the United States. My academic career grew there in the US. I spent 9 years at the Yale School of Management. And then we decided, the family, to come back to Europe and then particularly to Switzerland.
Oh, okay.
In principle, it was not clear for how long. But you know, after you have spent a few months in Switzerland, then you don't want to leave. And that was our case.
But you've been teaching for 20 years.
Correct. At IND, but even before I was in the US, I taught for another 10 years. So I already have a long teaching career.
So you must love teaching, being a professor.
Yes, I like it a lot. I like it a lot because, you know, teaching is one of these jobs that gives you self-satisfaction immediately. It's like being an artist. You know, you sing and you perform and they clap. Yeah. It's very similar. This self-satisfaction and the feedback happens immediately.
I thought the professor on the stage teaching, communication with you.
Yeah, I mean, it's true. Obviously, I like what I teach. That is my field, is my passion. But for example, corporate executives who have these strategies and these goals that go, you know, for 2 years. You know, I'm going to start a project that will pay off in 2 years. And for me, that's actually now very difficult to accept. You know, teaching is very fast and very quick. And as I said, you know, 1 week I teach for a company and then the week after for another. So in my weekend, I just need to switch off and then forget about the bank and then thinking that next week I'm teaching a
different group,
a car manufacturer. So that speed is very good.
As a professor, you're very good at expression skills. What about social skills in your normal life?
It's very interesting because professors, we tend to have very bad social skills. As I always say, we're socially dysfunctional. For a socially dysfunctional person, it's perfect. It's like playing tennis. That is, I am here and the whole group is there. So I am not in contact with you. We just separated. That's why socially, I don't want to interact with you. I say that because, for example, I could never work for a company because I hate meetings. I hate to be in a meeting making decisions with other people. I like the distance of the classroom. Okay? Of course, there is participation in my classes and there are questions and group work and so on, but still you keep the distance. So our social skills are not necessarily good. And if you look at the typical professor, they're very, you know, very close-minded people, very reserved people, very weird, to put it this way. But in terms of communication skills, it's different. We need to have very good communication skills because that's what we do.
Yeah.
You learn this by experience. In essence, at IMD, we are trained. We are trained by actors. But our training is the same that you would have acting school because essentially you need to perform. And that actually is what at the end of the day turns anyone into a good professor, the ability to communicate well.
Interesting. So what about your children? Your children both, they grow up in Switzerland, right?
Correct.
So what's the advantage and the disadvantage between the international education system and the public?
Yes. Switzerland is a strange country in that it is one of the very few countries in the world. Complicated, but also strange in that. So the public education system is sometimes better than the private education system. In my country of origin, in Spain, private education is expensive, but of course it's much higher quality. In Switzerland, for certain topics and certain fields, for example, technology, engineering, public schools are better than private schools. So the choice of a private school, very often, like in our case, is much more than for other reasons. For example, when we came from the United States, our children, they only spoke English and Spanish.
That's the main reason?
Couldn't attend public school in Switzerland because they operate in our region, they operate in French. In any case, we thought, well, maybe let's send them to a bilingual school as they did, and then once they learn French, they will move to the public system. But again, the problem with the public system in Switzerland is different. It aims primarily to send students to the Swiss universities. Yeah. And Swiss universities, because of the segmentation of the country, they operate either in German or in French or in both. So at the end of the day, anyway, to make it short, you need to speak German.
Swiss local students, very small percentage, they go to North Americans for study in the university. Correct. That because of the language, right? Language plus tuition.
It's a very good, interesting phenomenon that because Switzerland is a country with 4 languages.
No English.
No, English becomes the third language or the second language as a foreign language. So it's true that you don't have the same English skills as in other European countries. The reason why Swiss people do not go abroad is because also the quality of the Swiss university is very high. And remember, it's also cheap because
tuition very cheap.
They are semi-public.
Yeah.
So they're extremely cheap for Swiss people. If you look at the recent ranking of the top 100 universities in the world, there are a few of Swiss universities, and for technical fields, they are top. So the Swiss people, they don't need, it's an 8 million people country in any case, they don't need to go abroad. Very few do.
That's why I'm thinking about, for example, China. They send lots of students go abroad, but very small percentage they study in Switzerland. Same thing for Chinese because of the language. Only the master class they teaching in English.
Yes.
Otherwise, depend on the region, French or German. That is very interesting.
And this fragmentation has been political reasons, obviously, makes it difficult for French-speaker Swiss to speak English before they speak German and vice versa. So it makes it really difficult. For example, in our business school, we have an MBA class of 100 students, only 2 are Swiss. Which is very weird. You know, it's very, very abnormal to have so few local students. And these 2 actually are very peculiar because they are Swiss students, they have international experience, and they want to get a job abroad. So they're studying in our business school, but they want to get a job abroad.
So many nice company, in Switzerland. Where are the CEO if they want to, more educate for their career? Where do they go? Or they?
Yes, Switzerland. You know that already as I do. That Switzerland is a country that's very attractive for foreigners, and it's a country that attracts a lot of foreign talent. The education system is very peculiar in Switzerland. Because Switzerland makes a cost-benefit analysis of education and decides which jobs it needs to prepare domestically. The Swiss education system, the public system, is geared towards preparing people to work in the financial sector or in engineering jobs. Because, at the end of the day, the Swiss economy is about companies like Nestle, Novartis, ABB, engineering, innovation, watches, or banks. Private banks, university banks. So besides those fields, the Swiss system doesn't care. I give you one example. For example, medicine. In Switzerland, there is a quota for doctors. The country prepares very few doctors every year. If you want to study medicine in Switzerland, then you have to apply to medical school. You get admitted, but after the first year, they kick out 80% of the students because they only graduated.
You mean in Switzerland?
Yes. Yeah. The reason is extremely costly to educate doctors. For Switzerland, it's much easier to attract doctors from abroad. Okay.
Oh, okay.
So most for example, in the region where I live, most dentists are French.
Okay.
Because they come, and actually the country attracts those, and they find it much better that France pays for their education, and then they come to Switzerland.
So why do you think they attract the foreign doctor? Because of good pay?
Yes, of course. A high quality of life, a stable country, safe, beautiful environment, very high salaries. Compared to the...
But cost also high.
Yes, but you see the purchasing power of salaries here is much higher.
Okay? So that's the reason you stay in Switzerland so long?
For me, it was much more of a quality of life and education for my kids. My personal story was tricky because we were living in the United States before coming to Switzerland, and the city where we were living, New Haven, was at the time the 3rd most dangerous city in the United States by crime rates. It was funny, for example, that in New Haven, Connecticut, it was not allowed for your kids to play alone in your backyard.
So for safety reason, you moved
even in your own garden, you couldn't have your kids alone.
Oh, okay.
And suddenly we came to Switzerland and we realized, as we saw today actually, 6 and 7-year-old kids walking by themselves in the streets, going to school. And when we saw that, we said, wow. It's difficult to give that up. The quality of life for kids is much higher.
Here's a paradise for the kids.
Exactly. I've always said that it's difficult to grow up in the United States as a kid and become a teenager there. In Switzerland, they have a lot of opportunities and a lot of freedom because of safety. They take the train by themselves, they walk, they can enjoy nature. And that was for us a big game changer. So we could have gone back, but we never did.
As a Spanish, if I let you give me 2 reasons, 2 points, what's the difference you like the most about Switzerland compared Spain and Switzerland?
No, let me start by saying that I'm a Swiss already. So I got
right.
So
You're Swiss,
I'm going to,
and you're American,
and
you're Spanish.
So I'm going to speak like a Swiss now. The first difference with Spain, particularly, is that everything is perfectly organized. I like organization by itself. Is that when something is very organized, everything is very predictable, and that I like.
Mm-hmm.
China is a good example of a messy country where nothing is predictable. In Switzerland, everything is predictable, and then you can live easy life.
Mm-hmm.
No? If I want to take the train in the village, I know where I need to live, and I know that the train will leave on time.
Mm-hmm.
You know? But I also know at the same time that if I want to have internet at home and I call, it's going to take 2 weeks. So it's not going to be needed. So this is one of the things that I like the most.
Mm-hmm.
And the second thing that I like the most is the working ethics of the country. Compared
Working?
to working ethics. That is how people, they are committed to delivering their job and how people like their job. In Spain, where I come from, your objective in life is to retire. So my friends of the same age as me, in their 50s, they're already looking at retirement. That's their goal in life. This is very Catholic.
Okay.
In our religion, in Catholicism, work is a punishment from God. You know? That Adam and Eve says, now you will work.
Mm-hmm.
So the concept of working in Spain, that's a punishment.
But do they have enough pension? Keep them same lifestyle?
No, but that's why you have the state that will help. But for example, pensions in Spain compared to Switzerland are much lower. People are fine with that. It's like, if you don't work, you are happy. While in Switzerland, your job...
You work like...
Yes, your job is part of your life.
Yeah.
Like in the Americas, in the US and Canada is the same.
Uh-huh.
Like your job is part of your life. A goal in life for you is that you are happy at your job. In Spain, this is not the case.
Why your children, they work in US? You think in the future they will come back to live in Switzerland?
I think so. You know, my daughter lives in Chicago in the United States.
Yeah.
My son lives in Luxembourg. But even though my daughter is fully American because she was born and grew up there, she thinks that she wants to go back to Europe at some point.
Really, for her heart, where is her home?
I think she's Swiss. She's Spanish in blood. She's American in her brain, but she has Swiss blood.
What about your son?
My son is much more Spanish.
Yeah.
Probably his heart is more Spanish than Swiss, but he's also way more Swiss than he's American.
And what about yourself?
I am 100% Swiss, 100% Spanish. Yes. I love the United States.
Yeah.
I love working in the United States. You know, as we always say, so the US is a place to work, Europe is a place to live. The US is very good to have a professional life. I always recommended my kids that they start their career in the Americas, either the US or Canada. Because again, the learnings from working in an American company are truly impressive.
If they come back to Switzerland, you're close to them.
Exactly. And you know, once they have developed their careers, it's fine to come back. But I would not start my professional career in Spain, let's say. I'd rather do it in the United States. Especially for young people, for me, it changed my life, you know, to get adapted to the mindset of the American way of working.
You like to drink the Swiss one or Spanish one?
Here you need to be politically correct.
You
We're in Switzerland. But honestly, I like Swiss white and Spanish red. That would be my
Swiss
preference.
white is from Lavaux? Or
Yes.
Chasselas?
Voila.
Spanish...
Spanish Rioja, Ribera, you know, I like Spanish wines because they have full body, they are strong.
I use sports a lot, bicycling.
In this country, this is something that you have to do. You need to be out there in nature. There are mountains, the weather is fantastic, it's beautiful. I use my bicycle a lot. It's also safe. I know that I can ride my bike and not being hit by a car, as it would happen to me in Spain, so it's perfect country for that.
Okay, let's try some Spanish one though. Let's go.
Let's go.
So, cheers.
Cheers.
How do you say the cheers in Spanish?
Salud.
Same as Italian?
In Italian they would say salute.
Salute. Salud. Salud. Salud.
Salud.
Très bon.
Très bon. Cheers.